The price we pay for spending many years in school is that our creativity becomes diminished. You see, when you attend school, what you're really taught is that education is a boring process. Education is sitting down and doing a bunch of stuff that doesn't really add up to nothing at the end of the day. You see, most of us as children want to solve real problems. We want to be involved. We want to actually help people make a difference in their life. But we are sat in classrooms and forced to work on problems that are made up with the answer in the back of a book. So we don't get a chance to be fully challenged and to actually express ourselves to our full potential by being limited to the school system. Personally, my own experience of the school system was one of impatience. The things I wanted to learn, the school kept telling me I wasn't old enough to learn them yet. I had to wait till I got to high school before I could take a class on electronics or on programming. I had to wait till I got to a university before I took my first class on programming, which were all topics I was very interested in from a very young age. You see, when I was about 14 years old, I actually went on the internet and ordered me a package for $15. How to program video games, how to make video games. Because I wanted to learn how to program, but the school would not teach me. I bet you there are many of us who are in such a predicament who actually want to learn how to do real things. We actually want to make a difference in our society. We actually want to build things. But we're not given the opportunity for many years. We're just told to sit down and wait your turn. Sit down and wait your turn. And over years, the fire burns out. And we lose that initial energy that we had coming into the learning system. I mean, think back. Weren't you excited about going to school, thinking about everything you were going to learn? But then somewhere along the line, you realize that first, it's stuff that you're not going to use. So what happens with information that you just mindlessly learn and never use is that you end up forgetting it. Do you know why schools still have a summer system? Still, do you know why we have the summer break? Well, the summer break exists because back when schools were first instituted, the majority of the country was engaged in growing food. So the majority of the country had to go home for that time period and help for the harvest so that they would have food to eat. It was a necessary and mandatory process for them to survive back in the day. Now, do you know what good reason is there to still have that system today? Well, you're right. There is no good reason to still have that system today. The only reason we have this system today is because schools are a non-changing process. They're a stable process that hasn't been evolving. So people, we have been changing. We have been evolving. The technology around us has been evolving. The media and the things we see, the way we spend our free time has been changing. But the way we're supposed to be educated is still a system that was evolved back in the 1800s. The purpose of the school system was not to educate a free populace. It was meant to compartmentalize people to where they could only think in one direction, one dimension, in one way. Which is why most people, when they end up dropping out of school, believe that they are done with education because their only point of reference for education is what they experienced in school. But what you experienced in school is not a true education. A true education is a self-initiated process, which is why almost every child who is able to do so will learn how to ride a bike at some point or another. There is no need for a school for that. We naturally gravitate towards the things we need to learn or we want to learn. Boredom is the natural educator. Boredom is the natural teacher. Because by being bored, you are motivated to move out and learn new things and try new things. And this is how new things are created. But by believing that you need school to attain an education, or by believing that you need school to attain a job, we are force-fed into this mentality of you're not capable of doing anything better. And you have parents who actually feed into this mentality and give more credence to the mentality than they do to their own children. So you have many parents tell their kids, well, if you're 18 and you're not in school, you need to move out. So you're not gonna receive any more financial support anymore, anything like that, if you decide to go on your own and try to make your own way. But if you want to go to a school, we got everything covered. This is a very common mentality in this country. And that's what's causing a lot of people who drop out to be even more unstable financially and in general. To have it harder. They have a harder time finding what they want to do. If you give the average person who drops out of school some guidance, and let's say the average college student spends about $27,000 a year. So for a 4-year degree, you're looking at about $120,000. If you give the average high school dropout $120,000 loan and some guidance and some training to start a business, where do you think they will be by the time that the other student is graduating, hoping to get a job? It's the same amount of money, same amount of time, same person, just different avenues. See, this is what we talk about here at the Self-Education Radio. Here we believe in taking your education in your own hands. And we believe in building businesses that create jobs. The reason there's such high rate of unemployment in this country is because everybody is being taught to look for jobs. So when you go to school, the whole mentality is, oh, you're doing all this work so that when you graduate, you could get a job working for someone else. But along the process, they forget that the jobs do not come from people looking for jobs or from employees. The jobs come from people creating jobs. People who are smart enough to organize and plan businesses and to actually make them successful. So now you have a ton of people running around looking for jobs, but they're complaining because there aren't any, when they're all well and capable of creating jobs if they came together and put their minds together, got organized, planned it out, and were smart about it. There are thousands of ways to create money in any economy. Think about it this way. The more problems a society has, the more opportunities there are to create money. Because every problem is an opportunity for you to solve something, for you to make someone else's life easier. And when you make that other person's life easier, they're more likely to compensate you because you actually made them easier. So the compensation that they're giving you is out of the time and money you saved them. So it's not like you're taking anything from them. You actually saving their time and energy, which is why it's worth paying. So there are thousands and countless ways to interact with the market to create a product or to create a service that's in demand by a lot of people to generate an income for yourself. This is not a very hard thing to do. It's quite easy and can be taught to anybody, which is why you have many teenagers who own businesses and who are making a living from it with no school education behind those businesses. Thanks for listening. I hope you join my show. I ran for about 30 minutes every day at 3:30 p.m. and I invite you to call in with your opinions. I'd be more than glad to hear what you have to say and what you think about my show and what I talk about on my show. And if you want to come on and promote one of your resources for self-education, because at the end of the day, my show is more about the solution than the problems. I just talk about the way the school is set up to provide motivation to people who go the alternative route. So when you go the alternative route and you educating yourself on how to create a living, you don't have to feel guilty or feel bad because of everybody telling you how you need school and without school you won't be anything. That's up to you. It's not school that determines whether you will be successful or not. It's you who determines that. So I hope you join me on my show. We'll be broadcasting today in a couple of hours if you see this soon enough. Thanks for watching. My name is Prince J. Avery.